Hello, hello. I am going to share with you today how you can order and arrange objects on your Google Slide presentation. This is really useful because it makes things look a lot nicer if you can, space things evenly and line them up nicely on the page. So I'm just going to show you how you can do that. It's very simple. And if you're used to working with PowerPoint, it's similar, but a little bit different. So first, this is a background that I uploaded. I showed you yesterday how to do that. So if you missed that video, you can go click back and look through that. I have made a category of all of these Google tips that's on the right hand side of the group. So this is all not movable, but this text right here is text that I added. So this is just a template I made really quickly to show you. So I wrote a word problem. If I wanted that centered in the page, I'm going to click on it. And when I get close to the middle, you can see this red line show up. So that's how I know it is in the middle. I can also, if I wanted it lined up this way, you can move it so it's lined up horizontally, and then I see the line both ways. But another simple way to do that is if I wanted this lined up, I can go to Arrange and Center on Page, and you can either center it horizontally or center it vertically. So say for this activity, I wanted to give students circles to use so they could build this. So I'm going to insert shapes, and I'm going to add some circles. So I'm just going to make some circles here really quickly. And we're working with green and red, so I'm going to make them green and red. So I'm going to start with one circle, and actually I'm just going to make this a little smaller. It'll be easier to work with. So I'm going to start with one circle. So I'm going to do green, and then I am going to copy it so I have enough. So I'm going to click on it and hit Control C and Control V and Control C and Control V again. I can copy a few at a time. Control C, Control V. So I've got a bunch of balls there. I'm going to select them all and just move those over for a moment. And then I also want some red ones. So I'm going to copy one and then change the color to red. And then I'm going to have some of those too. Now I'm giving more than the student needs because for this activity, I want them to have to pull the right number themselves. So yeah, that's good. So I have these here. Now I could leave it like this. I could give it to a student, but it's going to drive me insane that these are not lined up very nicely. So I can very easily line these all up so they're evenly spaced and they're all in a row. It's very simple. I'm going to click and drag my mouse across all of those objects, and then I'm going to go to Arrange. I have a few options here. First, I am going to align them to the middle. That means they're all in a nice row now. And I don't think they're all evenly spaced. Yeah, they're not. I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to click on Align. Nope. I'm going to click on Distribute, excuse me, and I'm going to distribute them horizontally. That means there will be the same amount of space between each object. So now they are nice and ready to go. Another thing that would be useful, it wouldn't be something I would do with this activity, but another thing that would be useful is if for some reason I had objects that I wanted students to be able to move them together, you can group them. So say I wanted them to move the green ones together. That doesn't make sense for this activity, but I select them all, I click on Arrange, and you can hit Group. So now this is basically like one object. I can still click on one and move it if I want to, but for all intents and purposes, they're grouped together. So I'm going to put it back. I'm going to go back to them being aligned. You can do the same thing here too. I could also, if I wanted to make sure this was lined up with this, with the dots, I could group these. You could go to Arrange. You can also right click and group. And then I can arrange, let's see, we'll do it over here. So if I wanted the text and these dots to line up, if I drag them kind of near each other, I can see how I'm pointing like you can see my finger. See the red line in the middle? That shows me that the text and the dots are lined up evenly. I could also select both of those and then drag them and then line them up evenly as well. You can just wait until that red line appears. So the one thing you want to do is make sure that if you do something like that, you ungroup it before students use it. So now, if my students were going to do this, the only other thing I need to do, which isn't what I said I'd do on the tutorial, but I'll just show you here, I want them to be able to type their numbers here. So I would go to Insert and click on Text Box and just draw a text box here. And I can move it so it's the exact same size. And then I recommend putting something as a placeholder so they can see where they're supposed to type. You can center it, you can, oops, I didn't have this selected. You can make the font larger, like this. You could change the font, and then I'm just gonna copy this. And if I wanted it here, as you can see, it's showing me how to line it up actually to that one dot up there. This is having me line it up against that. And then if students were going to work on this page, they would just read it. Allie has 4 green balls. She finds 2 red balls. How many balls does she have in all? So they could pull these dots down to show 1, 2, 3, 4. And then she has 2 red, 1, 2. And then they could type their answer here. So 4 plus 2 equals 6. There you go. So that's how you can align those things, and a little bit on how to add those text boxes too, because I figured I might as well throw that in there. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and I hope that was helpful. Have a great day.